What's up, dude?
Well, I had a good weekend.
Did you?
Yeah. It rained.
It was fall.
It was very fall.
I loved it.
It was nice. I was a little concerned with the amount of rain and how fast we got it because I've got areas that have no grass right now.
Right.
But I think the seed is buried enough into the dirt at this point from the last rain.
Nice.
And I didn't see much rutting. So I think I'm good.
Nice.
So now if we have a few days without rain, that seed's going to be like, I want to grow.
Right. It did seem like, even though, like, there were a couple of times where it felt like it was kind of heavy rain. Like, it sounded like it. It was just for a second. And so I didn't ever feel like we really got a ton of runoff. Like, late yesterday, like 5:30, something like that, I drove into Springfield, and I went across Springfield Lake. Mm-hmm. And, like, I guess it was up a little bit, like it was flowing over the dam, but it wasn't, like, you know, rushing over or anything, so, I don't know.
So we got a decent amount of rain.
Maybe a lot of it soaked in.
Yeah. And worked on my workbench.
Yeah, you did.
And I was really happy with that.
You should be. It looks so good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What's really funny about this, I don't know if this happens to you whenever you do projects, but you'll start doing these projects, and this even happens in coding for me. I'll be doing these projects, and I'm building, like, the foundation or the frame or whatever I'm doing. I'm getting it going, and I start cutting other pieces of wood to start doing kind of the framing of it, or the like, decorative portions of it, the fun parts, and next thing I know, I'm, like, standing back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm almost done with this thing. Like, I'm so into the project itself, I don't realize how close I am to, like, finishing the whole thing.
Right.
That it's like...
And then you put the last piece on, you're like, oh.
Like, oh, I'm done.
I'm done.
Okay, I should stand back and look at this and make sure that this is actually straight. But no, that's the can't see the forest for the trees type of thing. And when I'm in a project, like, I'm like focused. I know, okay, this is my task. I got to do this. Once I complete this, I know I got to do this.
Right.
But I don't always stand back at first because it's like, I don't know.
You're just always in the steps.
I'm in the steps. I know the steps, so I'm taking them.
Nice.
And then when I stood back, I was like, oh my God, I did exactly what was in my head.
So, had you seen the... if you want to follow along, head on over to Run Bike Mike's Instagram, and you can see a picture.
Yep.
Had you seen a photo of a workbench with corrugated metal on it, or was that just you were like, I bet this would look good, and then you did it and it looks awesome?
Yep, that was it.
Well,
yeah, I just
bravo.
thought I had seen corrugated metal put up in a basement, like on an entire wall, and I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And actually on Seth Bike Hacks, they did a photo, like an area in a guy's garage where he was going to do videos. And they but they spray painted it black.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't really like the black, but I understand why they did that because it's going to have video stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
And that, and then combined with that guy's wall that I saw in his basement. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it would look good, and it turned out to look really good. Some people think it looks like a bar, which I'm okay with because I've got a beer opener on it.
Yeah, you do.
But now I've got a...
No. You've got a bottle opener.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It doesn't have to be beer.
Well, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
It's not going to open up other bottles. You'll get smacked. But anyways, so that turned out really good. I was really happy with it.
Yeah.
And added a vise to it to make it look even more like a workbench.
Nice.
There's other little things that I want to do, but I'm not in any big rush.
Yeah.
How about you? How was your weekend?
It was great.
Yeah?
Yeah. Have you seen Old School?
I have.
You know when Will Ferrell's talking about his day and he's like, we had a nice little Saturday.
Yeah. Go to the Home Depot. Bed Bath & Beyond.
So we got up first thing Saturday morning and we went to the Ozark Craft Fair.
Oh, yeah.
And then we bought a wreath. I think we buy a wreath from there every year, but we're just about to get all 4 seasons nailed. So
let's start over, buy new wreaths.
I guess. I don't know. My wife really likes having a wreath on the front door. and
don't blame
it
her.
makes her happy.
Yeah.
So, bought a wreath.
Yeah.
But this was the first year that I can remember that it wasn't either super cold or super hot. And so when we first got there, like all four of us, which is fun to say, all four of us had light jackets on, and by the time we actually got to walking around, like we threw all those in the bottom of the stroller. But walked around for a bit, looked at a bunch of stuff, grabbed some lunch, and then headed on over to Republic for Pumpkin Days.
Yeah, I went to that too.
Yeah.
See, I forgot what I did this
Saw a 1,798 pound pumpkin.
Yeah, that was a big one.
New state record.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what it said.
It's good to know.
That's almost a ton. A ton of pumpkin.
It's a ton of pumpkin.
It's almost a literal ton of pumpkin.
Was it really crowded when you went there?
It was thinning. We got there right before the storm started.
It was packed.
So it was starting to cloud up. The temperature was starting to drop just a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I think the crowds were starting to thin. Right when we got there, the fire department got a call, apparently. And they were grabbing all their gear out of their trucks and jumping into their boots and pulling their stuff up. And so I got to watch firemen get dressed, which I've only ever seen on TV. That was
Seems
interesting.
like maybe they should have more firemen if they're going to have the fire truck there.
Well, so there were 3 trucks there.
Oh.
And they took the one that wasn't being used.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then yesterday we had a pretty lazy day. But it rained all day.
Lazy days are so great. They're so good.
Actually, I say that. We ended up doing some stuff, but like one of our neighbors / friends are selling an elliptical. Mm-hmm. My wife has wanted an elliptical for a while.
Yeah.
So we bought that from them.
Nice.
And we rearranged our upstairs.
Nice. So now you guys can elliptical and bike together.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I still have a spot for my bike, so that's good.
Yeah, you didn't get kicked out all the way.
I didn't get kicked out all the way. But we did some rearranging, and in the process of rearranging, we cleaned, and I love our wood floors. I hate moving furniture because it's disgusting under there.
Yeah, it gets dusty.
Yeah.
It just happens.
The same thing happens with carpet, you just don't know it.
Yeah, that's why wood floors are nice. Yeah, it might look nasty, but when you clean them,
but at least you can clean it. Yeah.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to talk about? Because I'm a terrible podcast host and forgot to even figure out what we would talk about.
I have known this day was coming forever. That one day, 10:45 would roll around, and you'd go, "So what are we going to talk about today?" And I'd go, "I don't know, Mike. That's your job." I come up with a song, and I come up. That's pretty much it. I come up with a song.
Yeah, you can come up with a song. You have a crazy tag,
and sometimes,
which I never do.
Right, and sometimes I'm like, and I've got a little something we can talk about. A little something. But for the most part, you're like, all right, I've got a 2-part series in mind. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about?
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
That we're going to hopefully get a good answer to. Yep.
Okay.
Something about Apple Watch.
Okay.
Some pricing details on Apple products. Mm-hmm. You said you found a thing?
A leak?
A leak. Oh.
Yeah, a leak.
And your dad's watch.
Oh, okay.
We're circling back around to that.
All right, sounds good. Let's talk about it.
All right, let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
Now I'm Mike. Threw you for a loop there, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
That's what happens when you do no research. You have spontaneous things happen.
Spontaneity.
What are we talking about, Chad? Start us off.
Start us off. All right. Well, my question for you is, first a statement. I keep seeing people complain about missing 3D touch and haptic touch isn't as good, or vice versa. Maybe I have that backwards.
You got it right.
The question is, what really is the difference between the two?
Oh, okay.
Because I have yet to notice anything.
Yeah. The difference is that think of 3D Touch as a physical thing. It actually is a physical part of the screen. There's actually a layer of the screen added to phones that have 3D Touch that basically detects force being pressed onto the screen.
Okay.
Where haptic touch is all software driven.
So it's just a length of time
Yes.
press?
Yep.
So it's not a deep press, it's a long press?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a software version of a timed press versus 3D Touch is actually a physical almost indention into the screen.
Okay.
That's why you never saw 3D Touch on things like the iPads, because the screen size was too big and it flexed too much in the middle that they couldn't pinpoint with precision exactly where you were pressing
that makes
good
sense.
enough to where they felt like they could release it.
Okay.
Plus the cost of that extra layer caused problems. And some people believe that 3D Touch was actually consuming more battery, and that's one of the tactics that they used to eke out so much power out of the new 11s and 11 Pros. Why they got so many more hours is because they didn't have an extra layer monitoring stuff.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's the big difference is people notice that with 3D Touch you do lose some features because they had to get rid of some things because it's not pressure sensitive, it's time sensitive. Mm-hmm. But with it being time sensitive, it has to go through a specific amount of time. So it is naturally going to be slower because that time has to pass, where with force press, with 3D Touch, it's actually a physical thing.
Right.
So you're pushing it on the screen, it feels that you push deeper, so it pops it up. Where with haptic touch, it knows you pressed, and it's like, do. Okay, now you do it. So it's a little bit slower, but it's not so crazy slow that they felt like they couldn't get rid of 3D Touch.
Did I have 3D Touch on my 7 Plus?
Yes.
So maybe that's why I don't really notice because I don't have it on my 10R, right?
Right.
Okay. I think that I didn't really know what 3D Touch was, and so, but I knew that it was a thing you could activate, and so I would press, not get what I wanted, and then press harder, and it's basically what I'm doing now also, just pressing for longer, and so...
So on your screen,
Yeah.
these little buttons, the flashlight and the camera button, people are complaining about the speed that this actually pops up. But I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm sitting here playing with the 10R that you have.
Yeah.
I can't tell the speed difference.
Right.
What I think it is I think people have this memory of how fast things were and how fast things actually reacted. And it's probably not actually a speed thing. It probably was, hey, this was iOS 12's reaction speed, and this is iOS 13's reaction speed. iOS 13 has plenty of bugs. So I don't know. I don't feel like there's enough of a difference for people to say the speed is really bad, because that was not bad.
No. I call that good old day syndrome.
Yeah, that's... And another podcast I listened to, he basically was pointing this out about some other topic that came. Oh, the amount of bugs. Every single year, somebody complains about the amount of bugs, and the old Apple would never have let all these bugs out.
Oh, sure.
But if you
Major updates always have bugs.
Right. If you look back at like Mac OS Snow Leopard, OS X Snow Leopard version, it had... I think that was the one that had all the issues, or the one before it had all the issues, and then Snow Leopard fixed it. I can't remember which one it was, but either way, there were a plethora of bugs that happened back in the day. It's just the user base is so big now that the majority of people that I know have an iPhone. And one of the big advantages of this whole like iPhone thing, now that I'm getting off on a tangent,
it's perfect.
This is what happens. is and if you don't know this, if you have an Android and you're like, iPhone's awful, or if you have an iPhone and you're thinking about going to Android, you do not get the benefits of updating your software like you do with iOS. Android might announce the new cookie or ice cream or cake operating system that they have, but there is probably a 99% chance that your phone will never get that update. You are basically stuck with what they give you from the get-go.
When you buy.
When you buy it, they might give you incremental updates, but you will not get the new operating system unless if you're on like the Google Pixel phone, because a Pixel phone is tied directly to Google, and they can update over the air like iOS, like Apple can with iOS. But Samsung, no. If you're on Cookie Cake or whatever the heck it's called, then you're more than likely stuck with that because it's up to your carrier.
Updates, probably never.
You're not gonna get it.
Huh? I did not know that.
Yeah. So if you're on a 5-year-old phone on an iOS device,
you're on 5-year-old operating on not on an iOS device.
Right.
You're on 13.
You have an iPhone 6S. You can update. There's no way a 4 or 5-year-old phone on Android would ever be able to update to the latest operating system.
Whatever the newest thing is.
So there's a huge advantage when it comes to this. So you do lose things like 3D touch and all that stuff. Now, I'm not really sure how this works considering I have 3D touch. And I don't know the answer to this, and I'd be really curious if anybody does. Whenever you update to iOS 13, are you technically not using 3D touch anymore? Are you using haptic touch? Because it's just a press.
Huh.
Since it's not a physical thing, it's a software thing, does this 3D touch basically get disabled? I don't know. That's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
And I don't have the answer to it. But yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
There's your answer.
It's a good answer. So there was a photo released from the App Store for the watch for their alarm app. And it references an Apple Watch sleep app. So it says, set your bedtime and wake up in this sleep app, which, as you know, there is no Apple sleep app.
This is a true story.
Yeah. There still isn't. But there
So this was in
definitely
the App
could
Store.
be one. Yeah, this was in the App Store. So apparently someone didn't realize that their picture that they had up for the alarm, and the whole reason, I guess, so on the watch you can now delete like the factory installed apps,
quote unquote delete the factory installed apps,
right? But you also need a place where you can go back and download them again,
right?
And so they've put them in the App Store.
Yep.
So on the alarm app, this was the picture.
Oh yeah.
That showed up for.
Yeah, basically
for
shows
the
alarm, sleep, wake up, bedtime stuff. So it kind of is like the bedtime app.
Yeah.
On the iPhone.
Yes. And currently, there's no way to, because the bedtime app you can also get on an iPad. But it's not available on that watch.
Right.
But apparently you can access, whenever they release this, you'll be able to reach your bedtime stuff and track sleep.
Yeah.
But then, so this is from 9 to 5 Mac. They also pointed out that the battery life sucks, so you can't really sleep with your watch.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting because that's one of the things that I love about my Garmin. Yeah. Is that I know. Not just how long I slept, but I know like what kind of sleep I got.
Yeah, like, oh hey, normally whenever I get this much sleep, I should feel pretty good. So yeah, is it something else?
And I've done that before. I've gone back and looked, and I've thought, hey, I went to bed at this time, I got up at this time. Like, why am I exhausted today? And I'll look, and for like the last 3 days, my sleep quality has been crap. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. Why? Yeah. Why was it crap?
I don't know why. I know why they don't do it. It's because the battery life. Let's be 100% honest. It's the battery life. Now there are a lot of people, and some of those people might, kind of be looked down upon a little bit because they have 2 watches, and some may say this is silly. But this is my mindset. And I might have said this before on the podcast. Whenever I get the next generation watch, whenever that is, I don't know. I'll maybe wait till the 6. I don't know. I'm not really sure. But like I said before, my wife needs one before me. My wife wants one before me, or I want her to have one before me. Does that make sense? Yeah.
They all make sense.
She's not asking.
What's your official stance, Mike?
She is not asking for a new watch, but I think she should get a new watch.
Okay.
Because she's on a Series 1. But whenever I get one, I am going to keep my Series 3. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to keep it on my nightstand charger. And then when I go to bed, I'm going to take it off and put it on my wrist, and then put my new watch on my nightstand charger. And I'm going to use a sleep app if Apple doesn't have one.
Nice.
To track my sleep. Because there are sleep apps out there like Auto Sleep and Sleep Plus.
That's the one that they mentioned was Sleep Plus and...
Sleep Plus is really cool. Auto Sleep is amazing. Auto Sleep has a lot of stats built into it.
I like stats.
It's really cool. But I don't use it now because I don't want to have to get up and charge my watch while I'm getting ready.
Right.
And then charge it at work.
Right.
Like if I'm going to do this, this is going to be a watch that's really not worth selling, because it'll be maybe give me like $50 to $60 whenever I go buy a new one in a year or whatever. And then it's like, I just keep it, use it for this purpose. Because you can swap your watches. So you can have multiple watches and swap them, and they'll basically sync the data between each other.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, sleep app would be pretty cool, but yeah, it's definitely the battery life. I mean, they've got to fight off that Series 5 battery issue before they even get close to introducing a sleep thing.
Which I saw over the weekend, Zach Hall. Mm-hmm. I guess he's the only person I know, and I don't know him. But and Marquez, however you say his name.
Yeah.
Those are the two that
MKBHD.
MKBHD.
Yeah,
those are the two that I can name.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a little techie.
There you go.
Zach Hall updated to the watchOS 6 beta, 6.2 beta or whatever. And he said his battery life was better. Yeah. So he said at 9 hours in, he was at 50%, which sounds like 18 hours to me.
Yeah. And then he posted another one, didn't he? About like he was at 17 and a half hours with 2% battery left or something. So he's like, yeah, basically there.
Yeah. 18-hour battery.
Yeah. And normally, like we talked about last time, Apple is very, like, they're harder on themselves with their battery life than what reality actually is. So most of the time they've always said 18-hour battery life, but all the other watches that have come out have always gotten longer than that.
Right.
So this one, like, bumping right up to 18 hours, it's
like, dang.
I bet you they improve it more and more and more with software.
Sure.
I think iOS 13 and watchOS 6, they're doing something. They're chewing through things.
Yeah. Like, sometimes it's almost like that phrase of shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Like, I feel like when they released the first big major, they were like, how much stuff can we push out and make available? And we'll just see.
Yeah.
You know, how better to test it than...
Right.
You know, with everybody using it, right? And then, okay, yeah, that's eating way too much battery, so we'll do this, this, and this, and we'll see where that gets us.
Yeah.
You know?
And then some people would respond with, I didn't pay $500 to be a beta tester. And then you'd be like, ooh.
Sure, but
you did.
But at least in this case, versus the Amazon stuff we saw, everything they're fixing is software. You don't have to buy a day 2 watch.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas some of the Amazon stuff is specifically marketed as day 1 equipment.
Might work.
Right.
Maybe.
And for a little while.
Yeah.
Maybe not forever.
Yeah. Just day 1.
Day 1.
Might not work on day 2.
Who knows? So yeah. The last thing I have is some pricing stuff. I saw that the latest AirPods are on sale for $130.
That's a crazy good deal.
The 9.7-inch iPad with cellular is $110 off.
Whoa. Which
puts it 32 gig for $349.
Dang.
Or 128 for $449. And the iPhone XS Max and XR Smart. You don't care about that.
I'm going to assume you mean 10.
Never mind.
Since they never came out with an
can we
X
please
version.
clap?
No, this is too fun.
You can't edit audio. That's true. I totally just read it.
That's the problem with the name. Thank God they got rid of it.
Yeah. I always say 10R.
I know you do.
But I totally read it. I'm so mad right now. How red's my face?
It's pretty red.
It's pretty red.
Yeah.
These were Apple official iPhone cases, smart battery cases.
Yeah.
They're normally $130 and they're $102. So if you like battery cases.
Where's all this stuff on sale at? The World?
Oh, Amazon?
Amazon. Well, good job, Amazon.
Yep, all on Amazon.
Cool. Well, I know you wanted to talk about my dad's experience with the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk about that right now.
That's fine. Not just the Apple Watch, because I can talk to you about the Apple Watch.
Uh-huh.
But specifically, an eBay purchased, refurbished?
Yes.
Apple Watch.
Yeah. But real quick, before we go into that, on iOS 13.2 beta, developer beta, there was an image found of what appears to be the next generation Apple AirPods. And I am slightly excited, but slightly not excited about this because they look to be sound isolating headphones. And so they have a little bit different shape, but they look to have that little rubber nubbin on the end of them.
It's the only way you can drown out sound.
I'm just not a fan of the rubber nubbin. But you know what? I'm not going to shoot them down. I'm going to wait to see if they announce them. And then I'm going to watch the reviews and I'm going to see what people think. Maybe Apple has innovated them to where they're going to be comfortable and they're actually going to work good and you can take them in and out really quickly. But my number one thing with sound isolating earbuds is that you have to wiggle them into your ears. And then you pull them out and then you wiggle them into your ears. And my only complaint with that is that with Apple AirPods right now, all of them that are out, you just pop them in your ears. Like, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about the position of them. You just pop them in.
Right.
There's no, like, pushing them in and getting them to fit a little bit tighter. But we'll see. Looks like the stem's going to be a little bit shorter based off of the image. And some people are thinking that these are going to be, like, the Pro versions. So they're going to be over $200. And they're going to sell the regular ones for, like, $150 with the Qi charger case. So, but yeah.
Is that the picture you saw?
There's a little picture. There's a leak out there. If you go, I think 9to5Mac has it. And you can kind of see what somebody claims is actual, like, parts of it. So it looks interesting. To me, it almost looks like the image is stretched, but I can't really tell. It's hard to tell.
It does sort of look like that, but kind of like you said, if the I don't know, if the stem is a little bit shorter, then the case would be a little bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
And for the sound isolating part, like if they want to get down in your ear a little bit farther, like, I don't know, this might be like true to size.
It could be.
Like the background doesn't look stretched.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't either. We're just going to have to wait and see. I would suspect if there's images like this coming out and they're in 13.2, that this October event is actually going to happen at some point, and that it's probably going to be announced, I would say, within the week. Probably sometime this week, maybe even before this episode gets out. We'll just have to wait and see. But if there's images being leaked in 13.2, which is going to probably come out in October, November, I would suspect that there's a product that's going to be released to match those images.
Probably.
But anyways, so we'll wait and see.
All right.
So my dad bought an Apple Watch Series 3 Nike edition off of eBay. There were several episodes ago that we had talked about buying an Apple Watch not brand new and how much money you could actually save. So if you get on eBay, there's a lot of places on there that will actually sell you a refurbished Apple Watch. And I've always been a little bit hesitant for Apple products to be refurbished because I've always liked the new shiny, the brand new.
Right.
He bought one.
I don't know why. I mean, I'm totally not a new shiny guy.
Normally, I'm all
I don't
about,
understand people like that.
I normally like buying refurbished stuff because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But Apple stuff is kind of special.
Uh-huh.
And I've never done that. But my dad didn't want to spend a lot of money. And at that time, the Series 3 was, I think it was like $280 for the cheapest. And he was going to have to pay like $320 something for the series that he wanted, Series 3, 42 millimeter. And he got on there and he found it for $200.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it says it's in good shape. And so he ordered it, and sure enough, he got it, and it was in really good shape. It just had a little bitty, tiny cosmetic flaw on the side of the case that you can only see if he specifically points it out.
Right.
And so he got really lucky with it. Now, his friend ordered one, and it came with a giant scratch on it, and he returned it. So he was able to return it.
Right, and we talked about that, too, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's probably going to have some cosmetic defects or,
Yeah.
wearers, abuse.
Right.
But yeah, it said right on there that you could return. They had a pretty good return policy, we saw.
Yeah.
Because this one seller, I guess this is what they do.
Yeah, they sell refurbished Apple products. And so my dad got lucky with his, I guess, or got a normal thing. We don't know yet because there's only been 2 people I know that has bought the refurbished
Small sample
ones.
size.
Yeah, 50% luck. But, so I was kind of curious at how much he would really like it, because he was not really, he was like the typical public that when the watch came out was like, oh, this is hokey, can't you just pull your phone out of your pocket and all that type of stuff. Like the average.
Your dad is me.
He is the every person skeptic electronic guy. He's not like into like, whoa, did you see this new tech? He's like, whatever, that's stupid.
Right.
He's like, you'll never use that. And then all of a sudden he's buying like Alexas and Apple Watches and he's like, look how handy this is. And I'm like, okay. So he bought it, and he's got a treadmill, and he's been kind of trying to, go on walks and stuff on the treadmill. And then so he bought this watch specifically for his treadmill walking.
Okay.
And so now he gets on his treadmill, he turns on his Apple Watch or the fitness app for it. It says he's doing a treadmill walk, and he walks and it collects his data. And I didn't ever picture him as like a, hey, I want to collect this like fitness data type person.
Uh-huh.
And it turns out that's like his favorite thing. Like I don't know if he goes back and really looks at it in detail, but he just loves the fact that it tells him when he's done with his 2 miles, and it tracks his heart rate. And I'm assuming that he's just like everybody else when they get into like some sort of fitness and they start tracking it, that they can go back and be like, wow, I walked this many miles this month.
Or, it feels like I've been doing this quicker than I used to.
Yeah.
Have I?
Yeah.
I have.
And he can go back and look, and he can say, you know what? My heart rate wasn't as high this time. I'm actually improving. And so he loves it. That's like the number one thing that he talks about whenever when you ask him how he likes his Apple Watch. He's like, I love it. I can track my walks. And so I know the other things that he likes about it are when he gets a text message, he doesn't have to have his phone right there to know that he got a text message.
Right.
He can be on the other side of the house, and it'll buzz on his wrist, and he'll be like, oh, okay, I got a text message.
Yeah.
He knows that.
So the 3 and the phone are tethered together. Like, you have to have both. Or you can't have the watch without the phone.
Period. On any watch.
Right. I know, but we're specifically talking about 3s right now.
Okay.
But you can do stuff on your watch independent of your phone.
Yes.
And so you could leave your phone at work one day, forget it on your desk, get home, still make and receive calls, make and receive texts, send and receive, and be fine until you got to work the next day.
If you're on the Wi-Fi version and your phone is on.
Okay.
So this is where it gets kind of weird.
Okay. So as long as your phone is not dead.
With the Wi-Fi version.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
You're still...
And you're on Wi-Fi.
Because I am Bluetoothed to my phone.
Yes.
If I'm out of Bluetooth range, my watch is it tells time.
Yeah. Yeah.
This watch tells time.
Right.
And that's it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it still tracks my stuff.
Right.
But, like, I can't get notifications for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that kind of functionality goes out the window. Like, you can be out of Bluetooth range, phone across the house,
mm-hmm.
and it still works.
If you have the Wi-Fi version, here's how it works, and it's kind of cool. If you ever gone to a place like a Starbucks or a in-laws house or your house or somewhere else that you've connected to the Wi-Fi, your watch knows that Wi-Fi connection.
Okay.
And so if you walk into that place without your phone, it connects to that Wi-Fi, and you don't have to do anything to it, but you'll start receiving text messages and all that stuff if you're on the Wi-Fi only model, the non-cellular version.
Right.
It'll connect, it'll do all that stuff. So you could be driving down the road without your phone and not receive anything, and then you pull up to your house, and then all of a sudden you start receiving your text messages, and you're like, what the heck? Oh my gosh, my phone's not here.
Right.
And then you realize that, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I can just reply. If you have the cellular version, it's more like a cell phone.
Okay.
You be driving down the road, and you'll get your messages, and your phone could still be in the office. So if you've connected to the Wi-Fi before, you will be connected with your watch without your phone. If you've never connected to that Wi-Fi, there's not a real good way to connect to a Wi-Fi connection without
That's another
the phone.
place where the phone is an essential thing.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
So, yeah. I mean, so far he really likes it. I've actually been really surprised at how much he actually talks about having an Apple Watch, because, like I said, he's not a first adopter, and he's not really a second adopter. And
he's a third adopter. That's why he got a Series 3.
Yeah, he's a third adopter. But yeah, it's actually kind of nice. He's talking about getting my mom Series 5, and my mom wants a Series 5 because of all the health features on it. I told him that they should probably wait. I think I told him this. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I thought about telling them this. That they should probably wait till the battery life issue gets sorted out, unless they can find a good deal on a Series 4. Because the always-on thing is not really something that she needs.
Sure.
But if they can afford it, so she could do it. And then I imagine my dad will follow suit on getting a newer watch, because the 44 millimeter is significantly bigger screen than the 42 that he's got with the Series 3.
Right, because when we're talking about those millimeters, we're talking about case size,
mm-hmm.
and now they've got the screen running all the way to the edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So your 42 wasn't really 42, but
right.
Your 44 is pretty close.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he likes it. It was a good purchase for him. Cool. I can see him continue to buy Apple Watches down the road, and I really like that idea, and I would really like them both to have at least a Series 4 and up because of the fall detection. Because if something does happen to them and they fall and nobody else is around, they're in their mid-60s.
Yep.
Things can happen, and it would call 911 for them. I don't know if you heard about the
mountain bikers?
The mountain biker in Arkansas.
Yeah.
That the guy was going to meet his son, and he was riding down a kind of a greenway style trail, and fell hard enough to crack his helmet and knock him out,
mm-hmm.
and it called an ambulance for him.
And alerted his son
yes.
that it had called an ambulance for him.
Yep.
Yeah, so apparently they had parked at two different trailheads. Is kind of how I had it pictured. They parked at two different trailheads. We're going to meet at this spot.
Yeah.
Dad wasn't showing.
Yeah.
And then, all of a sudden he gets that alert.
That right there is awesome. It's awesome.
It's terrible awesome.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, my dad's hurt, but thank you.
Yeah.
For taking care of all of this.
Yeah, because the dude, if nobody would have showed up, the dude hit his head. Who knows? He could have bled out. He could have whatever.
Yeah, we didn't get a ton of details on, but his Apple Watch potentially saved his life.
Yeah. So you want to do some crazy tech?
Let's do some crazy tech.
Let's do it.
It's technology. Yeah, crazy technology. Got a lot of people need to tell them about technology. We try to spill the tea on our podcast. Effing with the news, and we pay for some new toys.
Yeah. That was good.
Thanks.
And that is... I haven't played Guess This Singer in a while.
You haven't played Guess the Singer in a while.
I know who that was, but their name is so slipping my mind right now. They're a fairly newer rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. As soon as you say it, I'm going to be like, that's the person. Yeah, I don't know.
Drake?
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's not who I thought it was.
Okay.
Close enough.
Close enough.
So... I was going to try to come up with a rap or a Crazy Tech song.
Uh-huh.
And like 2 seconds into the thought, I was like, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start with this. Because I was going to surprise you. Because you have put out such good ones for so long. And I was like, well, maybe I should... No, that's not a good idea, Mike, at all.
I think it's a great idea.
No, I think it's a terrible idea.
Do you want me to suggest a song?
No, I don't. Well, I'll go first since my Crazy Tech is going to be very short and sweet.
Okay.
Because I didn't really have one, and I just thought of this, something that I saw this weekend. So apparently, and I think this was set up, but you'll have to go out and watch the video.
Be careful, it's a trap.
It's a trap. So there was these guys out there testing version 10 of the new Tesla software that just got released on the Model 3. And it has the summons feature. And basically you open up the Tesla app and you say, I want my car to come here. And then you hold down the button and the car starts driving and finds its way to you.
Isn't that crazy?
And so it does all this stuff. And it seems to be very cautious based off of what I've seen in videos. But it was working really well for these people. Did some weird things, cut somebody off. But the video basically clickbaited me into watching it because it said a driverless Tesla gets pulled over by police. And I'm like, well, this is interesting because who gets the ticket?
Right.
And so they're sitting there filming. There's two people with cameras, and it's an empty parking lot, and it has a stop sign in the parking lot. And they're summoning it, and that's the Crazy Tech part for me, right? So eventually it cuts to a scene where there's a cop there, and supposedly the Tesla ran a stop sign. Even though it stopped at this stop sign at every single one of the times that it, like, they videoed it, but the instance that it ran the stop sign, they weren't videoing. It's really weird. So the cop pulls them over or whatever and gets out of the car, and they're filming this whole thing, right? Like, wouldn't you think the cop would go to the humans?
Right.
And be like, why are you guys, what's going on here? And all this stuff. But he didn't. He walked up to the car and acted kind of...
So it's all
like,
set up.
Like, where's the people? And then they walk over and they're like, is this your car? And they're like, yeah, this is my car. And it was completely set up.
This is a dramatization.
Yeah. And they're trying to pull it off as if it's like a real thing. But I'm pretty convinced it's set up. But the crazy thing is that we now have a car in production out there that does an okay job of driving to you.
Sounds to me like it does a fine job of driving to you.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean...
a fine job.
Here's my thought, is if I owned a Tesla, okay, minimum, it's probably what, $35,000 minimum for a Model 3.
Yeah.
Do I want my $35,000 vehicle driving through a parking lot by itself?
Yet.
I mean, it sounds...
I do want it to.
I do want it to also, but it's like, do I want to take that chance or do...
It's funny because, like, insurance companies always sell you on, this is your second biggest investment, which cars are not an investment, unless you're buying...
We don't need to go there.
Classics or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, this is your second largest investment. Why wouldn't you protect it? You know? Like, I don't want my house to drive around and come meet me where I am because I'm super tired and I just want to sleep in my bed, right? It's crazy that I'm like, yes, car, drive to me.
Yeah.
But it's because since the 80s, we've been seeing Batman's car drive to him.
Yeah.
You know?
It's nerve-wracking to watch this car drive by itself. If you got to watch these videos.
Yeah.
And I know if you Google, you know, Tesla gets pulled over by a cop. You'll see this one. That guy who does unbox therapy, he actually has like a little talk show thing where he just like basically talks about stuff that's online, and he did a little thing on this. I didn't watch it, but it's like, okay, this is big enough to where he's actually picking up on this. Like, he's watching the video and critiquing it. But yeah, so it's crazy that we have a vehicle that can drive to us. It is not crazy that people are making up stories about it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's made up because they filmed everything.
That'll be Tesla's biggest hurdle. Is there's gonna be like old wives' tales.
Yeah, and I bet you Tesla said, "Hey, will you send us the video of it running the stop sign?"
Right.
And I bet they don't have it because I don't think it did.
I don't think it did either.
Because it's super cautious. Like the dude, okay, for instance, there's a car that's like 50 feet in front of us right now. The dude was walking in the grass alongside the road and the car just stopped. Because it saw him and it didn't know what he was going to do.
Right. Humans
and
are
then
unpredictable.
until he stopped, then it took off. And so it's very, very cautious. And you'll see it slam on its brakes every once in a while, and it doesn't go above like 2 or 3 miles an hour.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what's your crazy tech now that I've lingered on about my short crazy tech?
So a few months back, we got my wife a new car. Mm-hmm. She knew that. I've had the Drive Safe and Save from State Farm little beacon.
That little dongle thing you plug into your car?
You don't plug it in, actually. I always thought you did.
Oh, really?
I
thought you plugged it into that little sensor thingy.
No.
Oh.
Progressives kind of look like you plug it in, but I don't know. You just peel off the back and stick it.
Oh.
So it's just a sticker.
Oh.
I mean, it's a dongle, but it's
a dongle sticker.
It's a dongle sticker.
Sticky dongle.
So I've had it for a while, like probably a year. And because I just wanted to try it out and see, like, you know, is this actually worth anything? And so then when Laura got her new car, I was like, hey, do you want to sign up for this? And she was like, yeah, sure. So she's had it. She got it shortly before we went on our trip. Mm-hmm. So we drove all the way down, drove all the way back.
Yeah.
And then, you know, school started, so she's been going to and from work and all that stuff. And
yeah.
And my wife's a pretty good driver. Like, I know that. But she smashed me with her discount this 6 months.
Oh no, this is going to be dangerous. So now you're competing against each other for good discounts, which is good because it means you drive super safe.
Right. I can drive safer than you can.
Well, prove that.
Prove it. And so I saw her discount this morning and I texted her about it. And I was like, why is it so much better than mine?
Now you're getting discount envy.
And so I'm thinking about it, right? And I drive downtown a lot. Yeah. And everywhere downtown is 25 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, everybody's driving 30 to 35. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I am constantly getting dinged for speeding. And it's always downtown.
So how does it ding you? What does it do? Does it pop up something on your phone?
The dongle underneath your dash connects to the Bluetooth in your phone.
Okay.
And the two combine to, like, measure acceleration, braking, cornering. I think it uses your phone to know what the local speed limits are.
Okay.
And so it knows if you're speeding. And then the fifth one is how much you use your phone.
Okay.
And, like, while you're driving. And I am all the time getting hit for speeding. And then I'm sometimes getting hit for braking. Mm-hmm. But, like, cornering, fine. Acceleration, fine. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, man, it's all that speeding downtown that's getting me. And so this morning, I followed all of the signs. Mm-hmm. And I felt ridiculous. Because I'm on my way to work. And when it says 25, like, I'm slowing down and I'm going actually 24 because I'm, you know, you're not going to get me.
You're not going to get me. I'm going to get that discount.
And all of these cars are, like, stacked up behind me and people are just flying past me on the left. Flying past me. because they're going, 10 faster than me, but it's like double.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And so I was just like, this is crazy. So anyway, my crazy tech is the Drive Safe and Save app.
So did you get dinged at all on your way to work? No dings?
Let's see, did I?
Ding dongs? Yeah, these little dongle things or whatever, these Drive Safe things, I've never thought about getting one of them because I was always like, I feel like someone's tracking me then. I mean, technically they are.
Technically they are.
So what was the percentage difference?
I got hit once for braking, and I know exactly where that was.
Uh-huh.
Because, we were driving, and the light turned yellow, and we both definitely had time to get through, but the lady in front of me decided to stop.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
See, you could get a really good discount if you just kept to the speed limit and ran all the stop signs and stoplights. They wouldn't know that. You're breaking the law big time compared to speeding.
It's true. It's true.
Soon they're going to put a camera in your car.
Maybe. I don't know.
And watch your eyes. Make sure you're not looking away.
Right? Well, so isn't that a fear with some of the there's some sort of advertising or something that was a big hubbub recently because they could tell where you were looking, and so they knew if there were 4 or 5 ads.
Oh, they could see which one you were looking at.
Yeah, they knew what you were paying attention to because they could tell where your eyes were going.
Yeah.
People didn't like that.
Yeah.
People don't like being tracked.
They don't.
In general.
They don't.
In general.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, they don't mind it if it's something that benefits them.
Right.
Right. like your little Drive Safe thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think eventually that's probably what everybody's going to be required to have something like that.
Yeah. So. You asked what the percentages were. Mine doesn't renew for another month.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I need to compare against, but we don't have separate percentages. But my discount for the last 6 months was $11.
Mm-hmm.
Her discount for the next 6 months is $53.
She smoked you.
I told you she smashed me.
I'm not gonna lie. It makes you sound like you're an awful driver.
Doesn't it?
Even though you got a discount, because apparently I wouldn't think you'd get a discount if you didn't drive good.
If you got a 0%,
right.
Thanks for signing up and using it. Here's $11. I don't think so.
No, they'd be like, you owe us 40 more.
Combined, we have a 92%.
That's really good
on the app.
Yeah. So you guys are an A.
Yeah.
You're an A driver.
We're a couple.
Well, good job.
We're a couple.
We're a couple. Nice. Wow. That's our joke for the day.
I had 3 jokes, but I forgot to tell them at the top.
Yeah, I had no jokes, and I was supposed to have one.
Do you know why you never see elephants hiding in trees?
No.
Because they're really good at it.
That's one of my favorites. That is so good. Yay.
Yay.
I like that one. Because they're really good at it.
Yeah. It's not that they're not doing it.
They're just good.
They're just super good at it.
This makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
Well, on that note. This is it. This is the podcast for the day. For the week.
It's the whole thing.
33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trey.
Before you do your little announcement and everybody just starts closing out of the app and deleting it.
Uh-huh.
We're not done yet, so don't. Check out our Patreon page.
Yeah, and hey, if you're not listening to all this junk at the end, you missed my joke last week.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. We laughed.
We did. It was really funny.
I don't remember what it was.
I don't either. It was like the elephant one, but different. Yeah, but no, for real. Check out our Patreon page.
Uh-huh.
There you can throw us some whatevers. You can throw us some advice.
You can get stoked or super stoked.
Yeah.
I know that.
But yeah.
And you can chat with us.
Mm-hmm.
And you can watch a couple of videos.
Yeah, and I have
been... And you can listen to LT3 Bites.
Which I need to get back onto. But I guarantee you,
the
once I get a Patreon
I was going to say,
person,
the people haven't incentivized you to do it.
Incentivize me, people. Incentivize me to make more LT3 Bites.
Yeah.
Because as soon as somebody goes on there, I will have incentive to do it.
Yes.
And we would greatly appreciate it.
We would.
But on that note, where can they find us besides our Patreon page?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Lunchtime Tech Talk, and on Twitter at LunchTimeTechT1. There, you can see our random thoughts, and you can also see tweets about the episodes and links to listen to them on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever else you listen to podcasts, where you can rate and review and share us with your friends. You can find me at MSU Mac, most places.
Yep.
MSU, MACC. You can find me on Mario Kart, drifting around corners, launching red turtles, also under MSU, MACC.
Which we didn't talk about that. That's a good game.
It's super fun, although this one, I like. Mario was left to right, run and jump, yay. And it was, here's 3 levels, if you want more, $10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, $10. But that's the last $10 I'm ever spending.
Yeah.
It's the last penny I'm ever spending on that game. This game's pay to play.
Yeah.
I haven't paid anything yet.
I haven't either. But I've played quite a bit.
I've played quite a bit.
I don't like how
I've played enough that I'm getting frustrated.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't like how
some of them are getting fairly difficult to get the 5 stars.
Yeah, I'll have to see how far you got compared to me. But I don't like how you have to pay the monthly fee to get to 200 cc's.
That, or like when you get your gifts, you can have 2 of the 4 gifts, but if you're not paying, you can't have the other 2.
Yeah, there's definitely an advantage if you pay to play, which I don't like that platform, but
it makes sense for them.
Yeah.
They really missed out on that.
I think it makes dollars, not just cents.
99 cents at a time. It makes sense, bruh. But they really missed out on that the first time around. They made a lot of money up front with the $10, but...
Yeah, once you paid.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so...
They could change that. They could have said, here's $10, you're going to get a year's worth of levels, and then if you want more, you pay basically $10 a year.
I'll tell you what, if they released new levels, I would pay another $10.
Yeah, why not?
But they won't/don't.
Yeah.
So I'm left to just play Rally and that other thing.
Oh, I downloaded Dr. Mario. I didn't know that was a thing.
Did you?
Yeah. It's different. It's not the same Dr. Mario.
Okay, well that's a start, because my dad got me a regular Nintendo for Christmas one year, and it came with Mario 3, where you could have the raccoon tail and fly.
Yeah.
And that was the only game I ever owned. But he would take me, not every time it was my weekend with him, but often he would take me and we'd rent video games. And he loved Dr. Mario because he was so good at it. And he always beat me, and I hated Dr. Mario because he was so good at it. And he always beat me. So, yeah, I saw that game, and it at once made me so mad and so happy and nostalgic all at once. And I was just like,
It's different. The pills come up from the bottom, not from the top.
Weird.
Yeah, it's different. It's fun. I enjoyed it. It's more like a Candy Crush style game, I think. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but it's decent. But anyways, you can find me at RunBikeMike on everything except for Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at run_bike_Mike.
You know, that's how the show's stuff is too. It's Lunchtime Tech Talk on everything except for Twitter.
Because Twitter's the devil.
Twitter is... This is how we finished last week.
It is.
It's just a vile, awful place.
It is. Until next week.
Until next week.
Bye.
Bye.